Hey everyone, and welcome back to Railroads Online. Today we're going to take the logs that we got from last episode and transfer them into lumber and beams and take them off to the iron ore mine. It's quite a bit of it's not a longest trip, but it's one of the trips that you will do initially in the game. We're currently up here in the Sawmill, and the loop that we've got is a clockwise loop. It goes down here, down the main line, and then there's a dual track here, and you shouldn't really see this as a dual track, it just happens to be a track next to each other. And then it goes down here, down the valley, and then I've orchestrated like a U-turn here, around and back again. And then there's two tracks here, allowing us to go side by side without changing points, and then back into the yard and do a loop, and back to where we are. The track I'm using isn't that standard. The way that most people do the far end is to climb up into a mountainous pass, and we'll talk about that along the way. It's one of the compromises I have in the game. It's not the worst compromise, but there's a balance between playability and not. The loop we need to do needs to get done. I usually do the loop 3 times, so that the train brings up. Actually, I do it 4 times. So the train brings up 4 loads of 24. And so the way that the train is built up, it's this one here, is there is 8 cars of beams, and so each of them gives you a 3, so 3 times 8 is 24, and then there's 4 cars of lumber, so 4 times 6 is 24, so they're a matching pair. So for every lumber truck you need to have 2 beams, and so this is a 12 line. You could go bigger and bigger and bigger. The limiting factor here is can you as a single player load and unload the train, and once you get to about 12 it gets really hard to control a train. So the hitbox is not working very well there. Where is the hitbox? Anyway, yeah, I'm not getting the graphic on the screen. So yeah, while this porter builds up its heat, I'm going to fix the switches. Yeah, you don't want to get too long a train, because you just spend so much time going backwards and forwards. And so what's going to happen is we're going to go down the track, come there, and then when we're coming back, we're going to come back on this line. And then normally the main line switches off to the left here. And you can see actually the last person who went through there happened to go through here and off to the left. We're actually going to go back into the yard and make a loop of it. And so as I said, I tend to do 3 loops, maybe even 4 loops of 24 at a time, so that's 72 at a time. 4 gives you 80 plus 6, so it's 96. And why is that 96 a big number? Well, I have another train parked at the smelter, is 9 ore trains, so it can, and an ore cart takes 10, so it's a 90. So really what I'm doing here is doing a bulk load, and this is very common with the way I approach the game. Much like with the lumber mills, the sawmills pond, where I fill it up, I like to fill up the ores, and so I'll get a lot of them, and then do it as big runs, and that way you kind of get this fun approach where you get to run these really big, huge ore trains and lumber trains. So this current loop I'm doing right now, orchestration I'm doing right now, I'm just making sure, actually this one's wrong too, will allow me to rush up the track, go inside, go through the loop. I set the points at the back already correct, come through, and then go around. And I'll do that 4 times. Now, because all the switching's done, I now actually have a very fast, easy loop. If a train has a light, I like to turn it on, because it kind of reminds me it's the active train. I'm using a Porter 2 here. You go, well, why aren't you using a Betsy? Well, I get through the wood. So you can see this one's a little bit low. So this has probably got like 1 or 2 laps left in it, and then I will refill it using the wood yard over here. So yeah, let's head off. So not Debbie, that kind of wrong view. Set the clocks to remind me that I'm in the yards and take it easy. This is a pretty straight area here, so I don't have to worry about it too much. In fact, I will turn the cylinder clocks off right now. Take it easy. Now there's one more set of points that I need to deal with. The main line normally goes forward, and just before we get to the valley, there are some points right here that we have to deal with. And normally it goes down towards the smelter, but we're going to end up going off to the left, off to the right. And so we're going to have to brake for that. So we'll do that once, which is like I just set all those points. And then once that's set, we'll be able to go round and round the loop. I think the loop is about, I want to say about half an hour to set off, to arrive, unload, and then come back and reload. I think it's about 25 to 30 minutes from memory. And so, yeah, a nice 1.5 to 2 hour session, and you've given yourself a nice huge 90 plus boost to your raw iron ore supply. So a lot of people have this single track through here. As I said, this left line actually is the main line. This is supposed to be a dual track at this point. The right line is not really a main line. It's just designed to aid in the looping process that we're doing right now. Slow this guy down. So normally you would go down here, down the smelter, and if you're coming back from the smelter, you'd be coming back on this line. So this really is a single line, so very similar to what probably you have. Now the problem you get is to get up high. It takes a lot of effort to... So this one's correct. Oh, I've already got this set. I must have done this. Oh, yeah, I did this correct last time. I thought I had done a smelter line. But obviously I had done a loop like this last time. So yeah, we're just going to head off. The general gist is this one on the left, this is out and this is in. This one has a maximum of a 3% grade. This one has, oh, I got that wrong. I thought I had it wrong. Well, to show the benefit of not having too much grade, you can to show you that you can actually, with even a porter with a pretty big heavy train, you can still control it quite well. I might leave that in. Yeah, it shows the mistakes that are made. So yeah, that one's correct, and then on the way back, yeah, that one's correct. All right, let's try that again. Because I went forward, it's got the weird physics jam. There we go. So yeah, so we're going to go down this hill with a little bit of speed. Yeah, it's a 2 or 3% grade downhill. As I said, the problem you get is to getting up to this high line that most people will be aware of. What I found was, after scouting for this a lot, so I'm just going to reduce this to 0 on the hill, and it'll be fine. So where we're aiming for is up and around and down. And right here there's a bit of a high spot that you can rely on to kind of get across, but it's not enough to get you up and over the hill. And so I finally came to the conclusion that I needed 2 lines. There's a lower line that goes up at 3%, and then there's the upper line that descends at 2 to 4%. This is the one that a lot of people try to get up and then struggle. So basically the main line's on our left hand side here and going down the hill. I see a lot of people coming down through here, but I think it was my brother or someone showed me there's actually a natural ravine down the right hand side of this hill here. And it happens to line up beautifully with a natural like bluff over here that gives you a really good run to over here. But normally what would happen, this track would be low and you'd end up going over there, and then you go up around near the waterfall and then up on the High Line, as you can see up there. So I've just, on the sake of simplicity and also just fun playing the game, have accepted that I'm willing to have another line. It does give you the benefit is you end up with a loop, and you end up with not really a point issue. This other track right here is purely used to return the oil. So a big oil train comes up from the smelter, that's where it's parked, and then it comes up on this track, and they both come up on the left hand side of the valley at 3% and do their job. So this guy I'm going to move up to 50% and just let her rip. She'll happily do this run. Beautiful views. Good glass view of the trestle as we leave it. Now I've tried to follow the train a lot, and in the past this did go around a lot more and a lot more S's, but as you pick up speed, you do need to straighten out the corner a little bit. And it does make some parts slightly unrealistic. There's some parts like maybe there should be a little bit more stonework here where it kind of gets close again, not trestle. But that's all aesthetic, and this probably should be a little further out. But there's this balance between, do you want to play the game and make it look realistic, 100% realistic, or do you want to play the game and deal with the fact that a little bit of unrealism means that you get to enjoy it faster and do more laps. So I've erred on the side of I'm just going to enjoy the driving and forego some of the realism sometimes. And you can still have some quite gnarly corners, and Daisy and the quarters can deal with it quite well. I do like the idea that I'm going to turn the volume down on the train for a while. Really bring it down. I like the idea that these small little engines are snaking up the mountain and doing work, and not just used for shunting and stuff like that in yards, and they actually do have a purpose. You actually can open or her up a little bit more than this. It does get, most of this is 2%, 2.5%. The only reason I haven't done it so far, and it's at 50%, is this corner we're on right now. This corner is a little bit sharp. It's the sharpest corner on the map. And just through experience, I think I've had one derailment, but I know that a 50% regulator through that corner does a pretty good job. And once again, there's a couple points here where I probably should be using stone. And it does get a little bit trestly over here. I'm not happy with it either, but as I said, there's a balance between practicality and usability. It's important to get rid of the trees underneath the trestles. If their tops don't pop through, it doesn't cause an issue, but it only takes a tiny bit of tree, the top of a tree, to cause a derailment. And so I have gone through and got rid of all the trees underneath. It's another big reason I'm a fan of the trestles over the steel bridges, because the steel bridges basically are boxes with a gap and a box with a gap, where the trestle is just the hitbox is only the wood beam itself, the vertical wood beams, which means you can get between them. Makes it a bit more usable. There's the High Line that a lot of people will have, pretty standard design. I think nearly everybody's got the same deal going on. And not too long, we're at the 15-minute mark with all the preamble, and we're at the mine. Starting to cool this down as we come up. That point there we're on right now is actually the steepest part of the whole thing, and so it actually gives you a nice natural break. I do have a. I'm going to lose audio for a sec as I show you the mine. I'm just going to get the map up. We have to worry about this cross right here, and so not to go over it too fast, because it's very tight, and also you're coming up this hill, so there's kind of a delicate balance there. I like to come through this yard at about 10. Cylinder clock's on. Bell, just to remind myself what I'm doing. A bit of realism. You can see the bit of a wiggle there. Take it easy. Remember that the train isn't the only part. The engine isn't the only part of the train. The entire train has to go through here very calmly. I'm going to bring the volume back up of the train. Hopefully she's not too loud. Making sure we get past those tight points, particularly this one as well. Now the train was loaded. This one wasn't mainly for the weight; it's just because of the loadout. Lumber is on the far platform, beams are on this one, and so that dictates the thing. It's starting to break a bit. Here's my little marker. I'm aiming for this point onto that guy. It's hard to see in the snow. Keep it slow. We're not in a rush here. The last thing you want to do is derail. It's not worth it. And a little bit more. Alright, welcome to the Sawmill. So this was on 0. This was on 0. So I brought 24 with it. So it's important to unload the lumber first, because otherwise that wouldn't fit. That's why the train is loaded the way it is. Move forward. This doesn't take too long. If you have 2 players, obviously it's much better. The only thing to do is remember to decide where's the money going to go, whether it's going to go to the other player or the primary player. You do that by using the tab key and joining someone's company. Oh, that didn't break well. That might be slightly over. Yeah, I've noticed that the UI is a little bit, the sliders are a little bit touchy in the last week or so. So this should give us 24, and that one's definitely correct. I'm going to drop a save game very quickly because I may have gone a little bit over. Hopefully, yeah. I think the new hitbox system won't let you do an unload if you're not going to hit the hitbox for the unloading point, which is great. I mean, you're not going to get those spillages anymore. But it does mean that if you go over, you kind of cause your own problem. So you need to be accurate. So it puts even more emphasis on having these points available to you. Why don't you want to unload? I guess. Yeah, the icons are acting a bit weird. So hopefully that's going to get a bit more stable in the next week or so. Come on. The only time I tend to use like the 100% reg is when you get into that slippage situation where it's rolling backwards. So notice everything's at 0, just let the momentum do it. Nice and slow. Yeah, The UI is a little bit flaky in the last couple of days. Once again, multiplayer. This is a fantastic game to be multiplayer. So yeah, good to see that it's all building up. Where are we at here? So we're at 104, so we're at the point where, you know, it's greater than 90. And so I would consider doing a run. So normally what I would, I would go round and round and round until I get to that type of number. And so I won't bore you with going round and round, but I would probably do one more maybe in this situation, get it well above 90. Now we're getting close to the last unload, so it's important to remember to start putting your firewood in the train. Yeah, I'm not seeing the UI thing pop up in the left-hand corner, which is kind of weird. Oh, now it's there. Okay, weird. Alright. And last move forward. Shoot, remind myself to do that. Once we get to about 3/4, one carriage, definitely turn the regulator off. Take it easy. Now, if I was taking ore back, I would be going down this other track, which is the traditional high line that everybody knows. Those points on the ground are just so useful. Alright, so now we have a 24-24, 6 left there, so that number's going to be 6 higher, or 5 higher, so it's going to be like 222. That's around where I like to be. I like to be like 30 or so above full. I've had situations where I've had it up to significantly more than that, like in that 200 range. Alright, this is all fired up. I don't need much to go home, but yep, so yeah. Now this corner is quite tight. Over the releases or the patches, I've struggled with different levels of derailment on this, and this used to be way tighter. I used to just go around this super slow, and the two carriages nearly touched. That was around here. But as the physics and stuff have changed, I've had to push it out, and it's got a little bit wide right now. The problem I have is I need to get it across the cross, and there's an interesting balance between the more you go out, the harder it is to get back in again to get perpendicular to the cross. So, but I don't think there's this balance between realism and not. Yeah, this up road. Let's slow this down a bit because that's a little bit fast for my liking. This up's a bit. It probably could be done better. If you didn't do this short trick and miss the big curve around the waterfall and up here, you'd be coming up here, and then this would be your up, and then this would still be your down. And so you would just be coming out of the mine here and cross here. I used to have a point across here, but I found there was no reason for it, and it just made the curve more complex, and so it wasn't much fun. So I'm just going to give this a little bit of gas. Turn the cylinder cocks off, that's kind of done. This area is kind of straight through here, so I'm not too worried. And then down we go. Khan, I feel your pain. I know that you come up here and you've stalled out your mogul right here. That's the reason why this is a downhill only for me and not an uphill. Now this is 3%, maybe 4%, I think. So you have to go a little bit carefully, but I'll bring up the map quickly so you can see where we're going. So we're going down this hill right here, you know, between the iron mine and that, you know, where that blue is. This piece of wood, you know, stone wall here is just so I can jump back on the track. Nice view of the valley here. Just this nice, slow 10% brake. And this is where a lot of people have different opinions of how to do this. I've seen people come much more to the right hand side and come towards this. There is a natural high rise right where we are right now, slightly to the right. And that's actually where I had it initially, like 2 or 3 train widths over. I've seen other people go to the left here and hug the wall. But in the end, you know, it's a 3% straight grade. I used steel where I needed to, where it was kind of realistic that it was up against the stone wall. Reduced that to timber, as you can see right here. Kept it straight, kept it flat when I get to the bottom here. So this is the end of the climb. And then when you level out, you can turn the brake off here. The thing to remember is, you know, there's a slight curve there and we're coming down a hill, so don't press it too much. I'll turn the display on, and then a slow, gradual increase in speed as we climb out. Beautiful use of a steel bridge, I think. I think this is one of the better examples of where to use a steel bridge. Give it a screenshot. And then climb out. And then we can actually start highballing it all the way home. So slowly climb this up to 50. There's a nice rise here. I initially didn't see it, and I actually had my trestle over here in the gap, but there's a nice rise here that takes where this man from direction. This is where we came across before. Came down there and we've got down there. This track here doesn't really have a purpose. There's no situation where that's required. And this is where those points come into their own, because you can go round and round and round and round and do this without having to stop too much. And particularly when you're on your third or fourth lap, it gets a bit onerous to stop and have to worry about stops. I've seen a couple of people come a bit more to the right here, and some people go a bit more to the left. I do like this middle area because it does have a bit of a bulge. It's a little bit more realistic way to use it. Now, if we're coming up from the smelter, we'll be on the right-hand track here. We're actually not really on the mainline track at this point. What will happen is, if you come up from the smelter to get onto this left-hand side track, you'll use the switch point across here. So you'll come across, this will be kind of the end of the dual track, and you'll come across here and then go on the single track and move to the left, outbound, and move to the right inbound. This point system here is just a matter of us cutting across all of that and getting into the yard, which is why these two diverge so much to give us some space for this switching. But you can see over here on the left, it's just the main line off to the freight depot. And this is a big traditional Y to get into here. While I was doing that, I was just reducing my throttle down to 0, just coasting in for the rest. So this train does as I said, a 4 and an 8 load, four lumbers and then 8 beams. And so that's what I'll do. And I have the philosophy of leaving my trains full, so that's what I would do now. I would pull in, fill it up with lumber, fill it up with beams, and then either go do another run and come back and do that again, or just go park it. And that's what I'll do today off camera. So that is an iron ore mine run. It adds 24 iron ore to our kitty. What line's here? Ooh, that's a bit hot. There we go. There's the line I was looking for. And there we go. So hope you enjoyed that, and next time we will head off down to the smelter. Thanks for watching.